As a nutrition and sensory scientist, I would like to share my insights about energizing nutrition with you and what every single one of us can do about it. Well, it's a clear fact that humanity is getting bigger. When we look at numbers from 1975 all the way to 2016, how high do you think was the increase of obesity worldwide? If we have 1975 here and 2016 up here, do you think it's a quarter, halfway, or even higher? Let's have a look what the numbers say. So according to World Health Organization, from 1975 to 2016, the number has tripled. So obesity is clearly one of the most serious public health challenges of the 21st century, especially when we look at our youngest, aged 5 to 19. The prevalence of overweight and obesity has risen dramatically in the 4 decades. So comparing 1975 here and 2016, it's a huge increase. So the number has tenfold. And looking at these quite scary numbers, well, that's clearly not the best forecast for this little individual coming, but surely I will try my best. And one fact when it comes to childhood obesity really surprised me. Can you believe it's actually not the US having the highest increase in the last years? Because looking at children overweight and obese, under 5 years old, last year, so 2019, nearly half of them lived in Asia. So that's a surprise. And as I said, it's a clear fact, humanity is getting bigger. And on the other side, we still have this huge worldwide hunger. So this whole eating energy debate is really some sort of a luxury problem. But where is this big problem coming from? And really, what does it have to do with energy? Well, if we look at energy and nutrition, there are 2 aspects I would like to get your focus on. And there is already one fact I would like you to take along. A calorie is not just a calorie. As a nutrition consultant, I often get this question: is a calorie a calorie? And I have to say it depends. Sure, we have the quantitative, so the functional side of calories or our food. And we know how many calories a burger gives us, and we know how many grilled veggies do. We know how long an endurance athlete can last with a certain amount of calories. And most of us possibly know how persistent the calories of a chocolate cake can be on our hips. But that's just the one side. And as a guidance, for example, in the UK or the US, we have these traffic lights at the front of food packages. They should be a support for us in our food choices. But let's have a closer look. Because when you're looking at the serving portions, it really makes me wonder, who is eating 2 fish fingers or 30 grams of cereals? Well, maybe my little baby would, but clearly not an adult. So if these traffic lights should really be a guidance for us, the values should be 100 milliliters or 100 grams to be comparable to each other. And if that would be the fact, then at a lot of products, these traffic lights will quite quickly turn from green and orange to bright red. And as I said, that's just the one side of the story. Yes, we know how many calories we can get out of food, but how we feel and what energy balance we can get out of our nutrition, that's a much more complex side to this topic. And that's where I want to give you this to take along. Nutrition is very individual. And that leads me to the qualitative side, so our well-being approach to energy and nutrition. Most of us possibly know the feeling of being totally stuffed after a Christmas feast. I call these moments the starfish moments, because literally all we want to do is lie on our back and stretch out. And hopefully, on the other side, there are those moments where we feel really energetic and really well after a meal. Really well for us. Because as I said, when it comes to the qualitative side, it's very individual. And as a nutrition scientist and consultant, I definitely can say it's a jungle out there. It's a jungle of recommendations of food trends and diets. And there are a lot of people who want to talk about the topic of nutrition. So if you talk to a friend or your neighbor or your hairdresser who is living gluten-free or paleo, keto, or vegan, or does ultra-low fat, or really on any sort of other diet, and there are loads out of there, my advice for these situations is trust your body. And by that, I don't mean when it shouts, "Give me sugar." No, honestly, I mean when you feel really well and energetic and nourished by your food style, then you should stick to it. And when you're getting lost in this nutrition jungle, then get expert guidance. This guidance will be a support for you. You can either go to a nutrition consultant, or, for example, you will find in every country these governmental guidelines and recommendations. For example, in Austria, we have the Austrian Nutrition Society. Or in China, it's the Chinese Nutrition Society. Or in the UK, it's the British Nutrition Foundation. And that's just a few sources. So really in every country you find these governmental guidelines who are a real support rather than looking up different sites basically on the internet, because there is a lot of information out there which is not really professional. So let's get ourselves back to another very essential point I would like you to take along. Be mindful. Give your body mindful energy. And what do I mean by that? As simple as it is. When you eat, eat. As mentioned earlier, stop watching television, reading the newspaper, being on Netflix, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube. Our brain really needs this time to stay focused on your food intake. Because with this approach, you cover two different things. First, you will learn again to use your senses. In my work as a sensory scientist, the work with our senses is my daily business. And that's why I really want to entrust this to you. Listen to your body while you're eating and ask yourself, how does the food look like, or smell like, taste like, feel like? Are there any new qualities you maybe have always overlooked? And I'm sure you heard of that. When you're focused on your food while eating, you automatically eat less. Just imagine this. An evening with you, your favorite Netflix series, and your soul food. Let's say the soul food are crisps. How long do you think will the pack of crisps last? 10 minutes? 20 minutes? And now imagine looking at this guy, recognizing maybe yourself, how different it would be if it would only be you and the pack of crisps. No Netflix. Just you sitting at your dining table, eating slowly one crisp after the other. You could even put the crisps on a plate. Would you even finish the whole pack? Or would you think, well, actually, I'm full, And what the hell am I doing here? So getting back, with this mindful approach to food intake, you cover both. You cover the quantitative side, so you actually eat less, and the qualitative side, you can feel that you are full, and that crisps might not be the ideal energy power intake. But what is the ideal energy power intake? There is another advice I would like to give you as a nutrition scientist, because looking at the advert, which is selling us the ideal energy power intake in forms of energy drinks or powders or capsules or superfoods. But honestly, there is no magic pill. So do we really need to get the best energy kick, promising to become higher, faster, further individuals? Let's have a look at one of the best-selling energy products on the market, energy drinks. Some of you might consume them on a regular basis. And let's have a look. What do you think was the best sold brand 2019, last year? As you can see, there are a lot of them on the market. And if we look at the sales number of the best sold brand last year, the number of 7.5 billion cans just last year will certainly give you wings. So there is a huge market potential. If you would pile up this number of cans, you could go from the Earth to the moon, all piled up, literally 3 times. So that's a huge number, and that's why the market potential is so big. And that's why there are so many products out there. But in the end, as I said, there is no magic pill. It's always the outcome of your food style rather than an energy product, a capsule, a drink, a powder, which should make you more energetic. So if you spend money on an energy product, ask yourself, can I make small changes to my basic nutrition and already feel more energetic and productive? So let's sum up the key messages. First, a calorie is not just a calorie. Yes, we have the quantitative side, and we know how many calories are in our food. But that's just the one side of the story. Because when it comes to our well-being, our feeling while we're eating, as I said, nutrition is very individual. And I experienced this in my work as a nutrition consultant. Every one of my clients is so individual, it's so different. So this feeling what you get when you're eating and afterwards, as I said, trust your body. And there are so many recommendations out there of food trends and diets. Who is feeling fantastic doing this or eating that? And when you're getting lost, get expert guidance. Either you go to a nutrition consultant or you find a governmental guidelines in every country, and they're real professional support for you. And as a sensory scientist, please take this along with you. Be mindful. When you eat, eat. Use your senses and listen to your body. Because then you cover both the quantitative side, you can feel that you're full, and the qualitative side, you can feel what is good for you. And my last advice, there is no magic pill. There are a lot of products out there, but there are no magic potion. Because in the end, it's always your food choices which give you a higher level of energy and productivity and nerve resilience in your personal and your professional life. Thank you.